Hey, welcome everyone. I'm Todd O'Hare, President and CEO of the Montana Chamber of Commerce.
I'm Sheridan Johnson, Government Relations Specialist.
So Charles is up on the hill this morning. We're getting into the time of the year where the big crush is on. We're slated to be at the official halfway point here by Monday. And so I think starting about Wednesday, committee hearings stop and it's going to be just floor action. And so I'm just going to touch on a handful of bills that we've been engaged with over the last week. And then Sheridan will touch on kind of what we're looking at this week, and then open it up for any sort of questions or comments that you might have. And just as another reminder, we're recording this as soon as we finish with our short report, then we'll stop the recording and open up in case anyone has any questions or concerns that they'd like to share. So we were involved in a number of bills last week, both in support and in opposition. On the education front, one of the bills that we went in and supported was providing for some alternative teacher credentialing, which essentially was along the lines of allowing for credentialing of teachers that may have been like a retired plumber that's spent 30 years in plumbing and they're able to get a bit of an abbreviated credential so they could teach a shop class in a rural community. So we went in and supportive of those sort of efforts that make it a little bit better for professionals that want to do some teaching in their community. So we went and we supported that. Looks like the governor's entire package of tax bills is headed to his desk. Some of the hearings are all concluded on those. They're in the second chamber. And so by the end of this week, the governor's entire package of bills we expect related to taxes will be on his desk for signing. And so I think that'll be a crowning achievement for him as he moves forward to adjust some of the tax issues. The Montana Chamber package of bills. And so we went into this legislative session with 9 bills that originated from the Montana Chamber of Commerce. They were all bills that were in the tort reform or legal reform arena, a lot of 3 and 5 yard sort of gains. And we're waiting on one bill for a vote on the floor. And so they've all survived committee action. So far, we had a little bit of a close call on one of our bills last week, but I think we've got some of those problems fixed and we're waiting for that bill to hit the floor. And so if we can get all 9 bills transferred over to the other chamber by Friday, we're going to have already a roaring start to the second half of the legislative session. We started to engage this week on some bills related to guns, and we try really hard not to get involved in some of those sort of issues, but when they are applying to businesses and how business operates, we have to get engaged in some of those things on behalf of the business committee. And so there was a bill that we're still working pretty hard on right now that failed in committee. And then there was a effort yesterday to bring that bill, even though it failed in committee, onto the Senate floor. And so we're working real hard to try to see if we can kill that bill on the Senate floor here today. And it's a bill that essentially calls for discrimination. If any business puts up a sign that says that no firearms allowed in this sort of business, then it puts some real strict prohibitions on lending institutions and financial institutions on they're working with businesses that may kind of hem in some of those sort of things. And so kind of hate to see those sort of things come along, but we got to get engaged on those sort of ones that affect businesses' rights.
And last session with House Bill 102, how the legislature confirmed the right for private businesses to do whatever they want on their private property, and this goes directly against that. So we just want to make sure we really trust businesses to do what's best for their business and want to make sure that those are protected.
Yeah, kind of our mantra as we go through the sessions, like, we've got this, right? Just leave us alone. We've got this. And so we'll see how this sort of bill fares today on the Senate floor and what sort of negotiation and deal making takes place. But that's an example of one of the things that you might not think falls into kind of our wheelhouse, but we're keeping a real close eye on those sort of bills that infringe on businesses' rights, even though they may have some other issues related to the Second Amendment or other amendments. So that's a super quick recap of some of the bills that we were involved with last week. Again, all of our bills were moving through or supportive of and engaged in the governor's bills, a couple of these gun bills. And I've got about 6 pages of different bills that we were engaged in through last week. So it was a busy, busy week, and we're looking forward to this halftime where things will wrap up here sometime on Friday for a week break.
Yeah.
Sheridan, what about this one?
We are barreling towards Legislative Day 45, which thank goodness a little bit, but this week we have got a couple bills up yesterday and today, and then like Todd mentioned, they'll just be doing floor session the rest of the week as they get things in. So things have been pretty busy, pretty late. There was a hearing that went until 10 on last Friday, and Charles was in there till 8 on Friday night. So working hard. Some of the ones we've done yesterday, there was one on cooperatives, but basically we were just trying to make sure that the amendments, we went in opposition, but we were just trying to make sure that the amendments were adopted. So we couldn't really go in support if you don't love the bill in the way that it is. And so some other things with railroad crew requirements, some things that the industry is already doing, and it wasn't applicable to, it would require
2-man crews.
2-man crews, but it wasn't applicable to Amtrak, even though they're carrying people. And so some different things there. And then quite a few this morning on unemployment insurance or workers' compensation. And those are all in-house business and labor if you're interested in looking at them. Again, those are all available on our website. So I won't bore you with all of the details, but then lots of things happening on the floor. Senate Bill 93, our one on the ballot initiative modernization, passed 3rd reading yesterday. So that one's coming in soon. And then this afternoon, most of the governor's package or in that package of 5 tax bills that they put together will be heard on the opposite chamber. And so we're ready for the governor's desk. And then we'll keep you updated on what else ends up, but they've got 2 Senate agendas today, this afternoon. And I'm just glad I'm not the one sitting on the floor today.
So if you want to keep up with some of the bills that we're tracking, go to the montanachamber.com website under the 68th legislative session button there. We're keeping a running tally of all the bills that we're actively engaged with. Got check marks on some of them that we're just watching and making sure that they don't go sideways or gain traction if we're concerned about them. But we've got a whole list of the bills that we're engaged in both on a support and opposition standpoint.